Today on Love Factually, we're answering a very common question I get from clients. How do attorney's fees work?
Author and family law specialist Douglas Garner.
So Douglas?
Certified family law specialist Douglas C. Gardner. There he is.
Hi, Douglas Gardner from the Davis Miles Law Firm.
For many of my clients, I'll be the first attorney they've ever hired, and hopefully the last divorce attorney they'll ever hire. A question that many clients have is, how do attorney's fees work? When you come in, we will present you with a fee agreement that we'll have you review and sign. Now, most attorneys, including our attorneys in divorce and family law cases, bill based on a billable hour. And so when you get your statement at the end of each month, it will have a point 2, for example, which is 12 minutes, or a point 1, which is 6 minutes. So billed in tenths of an hour, and it will itemize out for you the work and effort being put into your case. So 0.2 for a phone call. In many cases we have a minimum, so our minimum billing for a phone call is 12 minutes or 0.2. That would be even if the phone call was 5 minutes or 11 minutes, we bill a 0.2 as a minimum for a phone call. Now, rarely do we do a flat fee agreement. There are certain cases where we will do a flat fee, and those would be, for example, an adoption case that's a very simple adoption case, or a prenuptial agreement. These are cases where there's the range between a simple and complex case is not as far apart. With divorces, it's really hard to do a flat fee case because sometimes we have cases that can cost a few $1,000s, and sometimes we have cases that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so if we were to charge a flat fee, taking into account the risk of what if this case ends up being a $100,000 case, our flat fee would be unnecessarily high for all the people who have a very simple case. So rarely in a divorce, because the range between simple and complex divorce is just so huge, do we charge a flat fee. There are certain types of cases where attorneys will charge what's called a contingency fee, which in essence the attorney gets a portion of whatever the person recovers in their case. In Arizona, contingency fee is not ethical or approved or allowed in a divorce case. So if you find an attorney that's offering to take your case on a contingency, meaning they'll only take a part of what you get in your divorce, run fast. That's not appropriate and not approved, and they should not be doing that. As is outlined in the fee agreement that we will present to you, we will have you bring in a deposit or an advance towards your fees. This can often be around $5,000. Sometimes we can do discounts if it appears to be a simple case or other thing. But this advance is then applied. It's still your money, and until we use it, it's your money. When the case is finished, if there's any of that left, we're going to return or refund it to you. We don't just keep it and congratulate ourselves for doing such a good job and keep any money that's left over. It is your money. Now the way this works is at the end of each month, you're going to get a statement from our firm that says this is how much we've used and this is the time and effort we put into your case. And it will outline out in very specific detail what was done. So it'll say, for example, we got an advance on fees of $5,000, and this first month we had these phone calls and we filed these documents with the court and we spent this time meeting with you, and whatever it is we did on the case, it'll be itemized out and show you the time and effort put into the case. And then it'll show you how much of that $5,000 we used and how much is left. That would then roll over to the following month. Now, like I said, if in simple cases we get done with the case, whatever's left would then be refunded back to you. In more complicated cases, the initial funds may be depleted, and the client may need to bring in additional funds to continue to litigate the case and bring it forward. When you receive your invoice each month, look it over carefully and make sure that the charges are appropriate and correct. We try very hard to review each invoice and make sure it is correct, but a couple times a year, 1 or 2 times a year, clients will call me and say, hey, you just billed me for a call with attorney David Smith, and David Smith's not the attorney involved in my case. What happened here? I look at it and realize, okay, I made a mistake. We will immediately correct that and write it off. What probably happened is I had a phone call with somebody else and wrote down the wrong name, so you probably did get the benefit of the charge, but since I wrote it down wrong, we'll just simply remove that charge from your bill and make sure that it is correct. So attorneys do make mistakes. We try not to, but we occasionally do. So review your bill and contact your attorney quickly. Once in a while, clients wait till the very end of the case before they look at any of the invoices, and then all of a sudden they go looking through things. And the problem for the client and the attorney is they're now saying, hey, I see here you charged me 8 months ago for a phone call with so-and-so. What was that phone call needed for? Well, it's been 8 months. It's going to be very, very hard for me to explain that to remember in the first place, much less to explain it to you. So if you're looking at your bill each month, all the things are fresher on your mind and mine, and we can make sure that you and I we're having a more fair and appropriate agreement as to any concerns you have on billing. Now initially, your invoice is going to state that you brought in the initial $5,000, for example, and show how much of that's left. If your case continues on for very long, you will need to then bring in additional funds. Make sure that you are keeping your balance with the firm current, or if necessary, make sure you get on an approved payment plan. There are two reasons why attorneys fire clients. One is for failure to communicate. So for example, if I have a client that I've been trying to get a hold of by phone and email and every other way I can for a couple of weeks, and we have trial coming up, sometimes I have no choice but to fire that client because I cannot represent you as a client without communication from you. But the other reason is I have clients that are just simply not paying. We do this for a living, and we have staff that we need to pay, we have lights that we need to keep on, we have rent for our building that we need to keep paid. And so if I have clients that are simply not paying and just ignoring me for the financial obligation, sometimes we have to make a very difficult business decision and let those clients go. Now if I have a client that's having struggling financially, but they're working with me and they're being very honest and forthright with me, often we can find some way to work this out, get them on a payment plan or work out some other arrangements so that we can help the client, but as long as we know that they're being honest with us. The bottom line is the issue of attorney's fees can be a difficult one. Sometimes clients get behind or the case is costing more than they want, and they're afraid to come and talk to me. If you don't talk to me, I don't know what your concerns are, I don't know what your limitations are, but also I don't get a chance to explain why your case is getting so expensive, or potentially what are some of the things that you can do to help your case cost less. So make sure you have an ongoing open dialogue with your attorney about what your finances are and what you can afford, and make sure that you're working with your attorney so that the strategy that's being implemented in your case is reflective of what you have available and how much you're able to afford to pay. It is unfortunate, but in our justice system, the more you pay, the better result we can sometimes get. So, again, as your attorney, I'm trying to balance that out of doing as much as I can to help you, but at the same time, trying to keep your fees down. I hope that you've enjoyed this Love Factually video. Please click the like button to help other people find our great videos. Also, hit the subscribe button so that you have access to our other videos, and click the notification bell so that you are one of the first people to have access to each new video as it comes out. Any good attorney product comes with a disclaimer. Here's mine. Number one, watching this video or reading my books does not make you a client. And until you come in and consult with me or hire me or one of our attorneys here in the firm, there is no attorney-client privilege that's created. These videos and books are general in nature and should not be used in place of specific and detailed advice. Every case is different, and you need to discuss the specifics of your case with an attorney. Number three, until you hire me or come in for a consultation, the only legal advice I can give you is that yes, you should consult with an attorney. Finally, because your case is unique, no amount of Google, YouTube, or even my wonderful books can replace the advice of an experienced attorney.